Good evening and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name's Randy Rosenblum. We have a very interesting and entertaining show for you tonight. We're going to cover baseball, softball, basketball, track and field, and football, probably a few other things, including volleyball. We also have Tarek Fatal of the Daily News with us. Tarek is looking different again for the second straight week. I don't recognize you. Now, where'd the mustache go?
Oh, I had to take the mustache off. I felt like it was time. You know, it was just kind of this abbreviated couple days. But I really wanted to give a shout out to my boy Squints. If anybody out there knows Sandlot, he pulled off the ultimate con, Windy Peppercorn, the whole nine. You guys know about Squints, Sandlot.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll hit a home run on the show as well. Let's talk a little spring football. We'll start with the southern section. We're going to look ahead, our projections, and we'll start. When you look at the board, Mater Dei's on top. They finished number 2 in the country last year. They return Elijah Brown, their great quarterback. They figure to be the top team.
I can't imagine any other team being up there. However, the one question mark, I think, and it's not like some hot take, new coach, right? Rowlandson's not there anymore. New coach. What does that mean? Is the philosophy different? Is the machine that is the Big Red Mater Dei still churning along as if Rowlandson is there? Big question mark. We don't know, and we'll wait to find out in the fall.
Yeah, I think McManus will do a very fine job there. Again, he's been on the staff for years and should button up the Mater Dei team. St. John Bosco, which won the national title last year, going 13-1. They have Cameron Jones, tremendous running back who rushed for over 1,000 yards and 20 scores last year. We mentioned Corona Centennial and Husan Longstreet last week, the quarterback that transferred from Inglewood.
That's right. I saw him. What great arm talent he has. And of course, you know, Coach Logan's going to have that offense moving. I mean, they're good for, you know, anywhere between 50 and 60 points a game because of the league they play in. So those numbers always get hiked up.
And they got a great running back, too. And Cornell Hatcher, another guy that rushed for better than 20 touchdowns a year ago. Mission Viejo has Travis Anderson, a free safety that had 9 picks last year, and the 5th team on our board in the southern section, Sierra Canyon.
I think that's a team that everyone's keeping an eye on. They recently hired a gentleman by the name of Bruce Bible from Los Alamitos, who's their president of football operations, and it takes a little bit more off the plate of Coach John Ellinghaus. So John Ellinghaus started that program when it was only 8-man football in like 2008 or 9 or something. Then they went to 11-man in 2011, and they've just been climbing up the ladder ever since. They're going for Division I football now. And so with so many moving parts, John Ellinghaus needed a little help. They bring in Bruce Bible, and what's also coming with Bruce Bible is a lot of transfers. So that's why everyone's like, oh, watch out for Sierra Canyon. We'll see.
All right, that's spring football for the southern section. Those are the teams that look good. Let's project some of the city schools, and there's a lot of familiar names here. This side of King Drew, which returns a lot of players. Birmingham favored again with Peyton Waters, the top player in this city, versatile guy, offense and defense, returning for the Patriots.
I saw Jim Rose last week because he's also the softball coach, and he was telling me that in his time, other than when Milton Knox was at Birmingham, which I think was 2008, since then he has not had this many college football coaches on his campus checking out his team. That's how good his team is coming back this fall. If there was any time to beat Birmingham football, it was this past season, and they won the whole thing. So I can't imagine anyone's going to take them down in the city.
Well, Garfield got to the city finals last year. They returned basically their whole team. Damian Cornejo, fabulous running back, had 27 touchdowns a year ago. Banning's got a great wide receiver, and Elijah Huey-Yandel. King Drew, to me, is an interesting team.
That is interesting.
They return a lot of players. Their quarterback, Keenan Jackson, is outstanding. They have tremendous defensive players. Isaiah Sandy, a linebacker, is good. And then there's Cleveland out of the Valley, which I think could be a great team next year. They have Corey Hall coming back and a tremendous running back in Donovan Powell.
The two schools I kind of see, you always got to throw maybe Palisades in there. I think they're always good. They're a charter school. But the other one that I'll give you, Granada. I know they're losing Dijon Stanley, but they're going to bring back Daryl Stanley.
They will.
The younger cousin, and he's an outstanding back. Bucky Brooks is going to run that crazy, what is it, like 3-wing, or what's it called? The double wing, I think is what the offense is called. And they just run. I don't know why they wouldn't have, if they have 3/4 of the success with Daryl Stanley, as they did with Dijon, they'll be pretty good too.
Yeah, it is the double wing. I used to call it the wing tee, but it is
Wing
the
tee,
double
okay,
wing.
okay.
All right, the East LA Classic is moving again. That's Garfield and Roosevelt. For many, many years, it was at East LA College. It went to the Coliseum last year, which was great. They had a huge crowd. They had a concert. It's going back to East LA College.
I want to say, was it like 40,000 people? It was some ridiculous number that showed up. It just goes to show you how much the community loves this game. The Black Eyed Peas performed. It's a spectacle. It's not just for football lovers. It's for people that love the community and want to be involved. And of course, if you like a little music, you get some of that too.
You know, we mentioned Modern Day. I still love these highlights. Look how many people were in the stands when they were at East LA. I love it at East LA College.
The camera work is fantastic.
Yeah, it really was good. We mentioned Modern Day before. They have a young man, a defensive end, Sean Scott, who's got 11 offers already. He was a freshman last year. He just got offered by USC.
It reminds me of Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau was at Oaks Christian his last 2 years. I think he was at Sarah Gardino his freshman year. He was at Dorsey his sophomore year. Anyway, he ends up at Oaks Christian his junior, senior year, ends up being the 5th pick in the NFL draft a couple of years ago, played at Oregon, but was this, you just look at them, Randy, and you just know that they're special. The size, the speed, how dynamic and versatile they are laterally, and this young man has those kinds of skills.
Pretty good pose, too. He looks muscular there. Another guy who's getting continual offers is Brady Smigel. We mentioned him last week, the quarterback at Newbury Park. Again, that freshman a year ago. Set all kinds of passing records. There he is. 2 more offers this week, Ole Miss and Oregon.
Notre Dame was another one that I think came in.
Week.
Okay, yeah, right. He's just been racking them up. He's going to end up being, he's only a sophomore this fall. He's going to end up being the #1 quarterback in the country. I'll say it right now. He's got the size, he's got the arm talent. He's a really nice kid, has charisma already. He's not shy, comfortable with interviews and things of that nature. I got the pleasure to cover him a couple times during his freshman season. Broke the state record for freshman touchdowns in a season, I believe, like 40 plus. So ended up being the Daily News Freshman of the Year. He's going to end up probably being a 5-star #1 quarterback type kid.
I don't think there's any question, and his dad's the coach out there
That's right.
at Newbury Park. All right, let's turn our attention to volleyball. Southern section, the highest level there is D1. All year long it was Loyola, but Loyola got knocked off by Corona Del Mar. Corona Del Mar got to the finals, but lost to Newport Harbor. So Newport Harbor 3 straight over the Sea Kings. 2 years in a row, the Sealers are the champions.
It doesn't exactly surprise me. I think anytime, I would say what was more surprising than them getting this victory, okay, the sweep's a little bit of a shocker. However, I'm just surprised we didn't see Loyola or Miracosta in that final game. So you just know that these teams were that good to knock off kind of the heavy hitters of the sport. Congrats to Newport Harbor.
Luca Kersey with 17 kills for the winning team. All right, let's talk about a team you covered, Hart. They won a CIF championship in volleyball.
Never heard of them. Kidding.
There it is, over El Dorado.
Yeah, it was a great story. These are fun stories to cover, Randy. Hart hadn't won a league title in 30 years. So they get that, and then they work their way to the Division IV final, and they win that. And I think Haley Sawyer, our Daily News freelancer, was there covering it, and she said they won the game, the match, and they weren't that excited. She thought that was a pretty interesting little detail. But I think what it is they were so confident that they were going to win. They were a little more excited about winning that first set, knowing they were going to dominate their opponent, and they ended up doing so.
City section volleyball, we were there for the open division at Cal State Northridge. Chatsworth, the #1 seed, playing Pally, the #2 seed. It wasn't close. Every set went to the Chancellors, and they really were never behind. Pally was always looking up at him, trying to play catch up, and Blake Pohevitz had 18 kills.
It was no question who the best player on the floor was, and it was Blake Pohevitz. What impressed me the most, and I wrote about it that night, his energy. His teammates would make a play, and he'd be just as energized and just as fired up as if he just killed one right down to the floor. Fantastic player. The last thing I'll say is Coach Sina had mentioned that what great of a leader he developed into, and there they are. They win the city championship.
And let's hear from the coach, the champion coach of Chatsworth. I have Sina Aghassy, the coach of Chatsworth. had to get some water because he just finished up winning an LA City Section Open Division Boys Volleyball Championship. 3 straight sets over the Dolphins of Palisades. Congratulations.
Thanks, Randy.
Well, it seemed easy to us. You jumped on them in each and every set and never gave them an opportunity to get the advantage. What was the major difference for your Chancellors tonight?
We showed up prepared, we showed up inspired, and I think that's been the common theme all year. I mean, obviously, you know, I talked to some of our coaches about a monkey being off our back. Carlos Gray does a phenomenal job with Palisades. They have had our number for the past 5-6 years, and so last year losing to them in the finals did not, you know, feel that great, and the guys carried that into this match, and every moment, every turn, they showed that, you know, tenacity and intensity, and I couldn't be more proud of our guys.
You know, when I did the match, when we had Blake Pohevitz on our postgame, he said it was the best match he thought your team played all year. Do you agree with his assessment?
For Taft?
No.
Oh, this match?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, he played phenomenally.
No, I'm saying your team.
Oh,
he felt the team.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the complementary pieces showed up today. You know, Nate Kim did a phenomenal job spreading the ball around. You know, sometimes we do get one-sided with Blake, but because all of our guys kind of showed up tonight, it made it easy for Nate to say what he wanted to do, and it caught Palisades off on their heels. And obviously, you know, you want to play your best volleyball at the end of the year, and that's what we did. Having the opportunity to talk with Sina Aghassy after his team's city championship in boys volleyball in the LA City section in the Open. This is SoCal Prep Report. And Sina, it was fun to watch you on the sideline. You didn't have to call very many timeouts in this match. Yeah.
You had the lead the whole time. In the third set, they made a little bit of a move, and you called a strategic timeout when they cut it to 23-17. But you had, by coaches' standards, I would imagine a fairly easy night. I know it's never easy,
Sure.
but it looked easy for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, when your guys are playing well, it takes the pressure off of you to kind of make adjustments in 1 or 2 points. And I think some of the best coaches sometimes just have to let their kids play and just let the game flow. And, you know, it's very hard for me to step back, but obviously the guys made it very easy to do that tonight.
How rewarding is this for you? I mean, look at this month. You've had your first child, a lovely young lady.
Yeah.
You win a city championship on the floor you played college ball on in the city you were born in. Now, this is Hollywood script stuff, isn't it?
It's been a special year, special month. I got to credit my wife. She's been amazing through thick and thin. I mean, our 2-week daughter is at home 4 weeks early. We were anticipating this after playoffs, but she had other plans. And, you know, I mean, you can't script it any better. You said it yourself, but obviously, you know, a lot of credit goes to my wife. I'm so excited to go home with Ariana, our newborn, and excited to enjoy it with these families at Chatsworth. They have supported us all year long, and I'm super proud to, you know, I see Greg Salzberg in the stands, who's won 4 in a row, and I'm happy to bring one home back.
That was 2002 to 2005.
Yeah, 01, 02, 03, 04, and I'm so excited to bring one back home to Chatsworth in the Open Division.
10 total city titles now for Chatsworth in volleyball. How about Carson in D1 in the city? They knock off a very talented team, and they win their second straight, both years over Marshall. Here's the celebration. The dink is down, and they celebrate. That's just great. For the second year in a row, they beat the same team. They beat Marshall, the Barristers, in 5 last year. This time, Colts get them in 4.
Not easy to beat a team that you've seen before at that level, right? You think the other team's going to have you figured out. And I think what stood out to me about this event was just being able to have those championships at CSUN. I think what a great atmosphere. A lot of people showed up. It's always a community event when it comes to city section sports.
The next division, Division 2, we had Will Reithard, who worked color analyst for us on the match with Palisades and Chatsworth. But he was the head coach at Verdugo Hills, and they lost after winning the first set. Then the Rams ran off 3 sets in a row, and Will ride off into the sunset as the boys' coach. He's going to remain as the girls' coach after 27 years.
Had a chance to talk with him, and usually, you know, the press doesn't write about the runner-up much, but I got a chance to talk with Will, and after 27 years of being a boys' volleyball coach, there was a lot of reflection he had. I ended up writing a nice story about him, and he cited Teddy Roosevelt as being about the man in the arena. I thought that was really, really cool, and that's what the piece is about.
He's not the only guy stepping down. Now, Tom Harp, this legendary coach at Granada Hills in the Valley, he's going to say bye-bye, but to the girls' team. The same thing, he coaches the boys and the girls. He's coached the Highlander girls to 7 titles.
He's coming back to coach football. Kidding.
You had my hopes up. You really
exactly.
did.
How excited everyone would be. Yeah, Tom Harp is like one of the sneakiest funny dudes you'll meet. He's not exactly beaming with charisma all the time, but if you get a chance to chat with him, man, he is funny and just this wealth of knowledge. I know he'll be missed on the girls' side, but he's going to continue coaching the boys.
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job, and he dates back all the way to John Elway. He helped coach John Elway when he was in high school playing football at Granada Hill, so that was a long time ago. All right, we're going to step out. We're going to hear from our friends at Pacific Surfliner. Baseball's on deck. We'll be back in 30.
California has always been a land of discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
We're ready for some baseball now. We're going to talk Westlake. I know Tarek covers them for the Daily News, and they played this incredible game in the playoffs. And what happened?
I went out there on Friday. Game started on time, 3:15. They played 17 innings, okay, 2-2. It was a 4.5 inning game. They thought, call it to darkness. We're coming back. So Saturday morning, I come back.
This against South Torrance.
Correct, against South Torrance, thank you. So they play 2 extra innings. Nate Johnson ends up being the guy for Westlake, pitches 2 scoreless, hits a sac fly. They win 3-2, 19 innings. Westlake moved on. Part of history, the second longest game in CIF history since 1965.
Then they lost to San Marcos.
Yes, then they didn't have enough gas the next round.
They ran out of steam. How about Corona? You kind of picked this last week over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the #1 team in the state.
Right.
Not anymore.
I think what happened was you get Corona, and do you know the pitcher's name by chance? You don't. Corona had this pitcher. He's a lefty, and he's fantastic. He's going to UCLA, and there's a lot of lefties in Notre Dame's lineup, and I just felt like it wasn't going to add up for the Knights, and they couldn't score enough runs, so Corona ends up going on to win that game.
All right, the Division I semifinals. We have the results on those. Jay Serra is back. They're a team that won the Division I championship a year ago, and then they knock out Corona. Jay Serra just seems to be there every year.
The power of Brett Kay. I mean, that guy is a total stand-up coach and such a great, well-respected man amongst the baseball community. And just, like you said, Jay Serra, you just look up, and next thing you know, they're there every year. And they're going to take on Santa Margarita, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, that's the other game
Trinity
we're going
League
to talk about.
Foe. Yeah.
Matt Champion pitched a great game against Corona. And then, again, as we look at the other semifinal, Santa Margarita out of the Trinity League, too strong for another Trinity League team. So they had 3 of the 4 teams as they knock off the Lancers of Oulu.
I think when it comes to everyone always, okay, the Mission League is really good, Trinity League is really good. Though the Mission League had a lot of quarterfinalists, they all bowed out. And yeah, you're right, 3 of the 4 teams left being Trinity League teams is quite impressive.
All right, who do you like? We got the big one coming up. Jay Serra and Santa Margarita. What makes this thing so intriguing, this is their 5th time playing this year. 2-2.
Wow.
2-1 in the league for Santa Margarita. Jay Serra Catholic beat them in the big tournament earlier in the year. So this is number 5. They got their top pitchers going.
Okay, both #1s are going?
The #1s are going.
Oh, wow.
This is just the perfect matchup, and they obviously know each other extremely well.
I'll give Brett Kay the nod. I'll go Jay Serra. They've been there before. This one's at Blair Field, by the way, for everyone out there. That game will be Friday night, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
At Blair Field in Long Beach. It's going to be a great, great evening. Man, I kind of always, the only problem with Division I is it's so good. I think it'll be low scoring, like 1-0, 2-0, something like that.
City section, their tournament is just getting underway. So we'll just give you the top seeds who are going to play tomorrow. Granada Hill's got the #1 seed. I really think Pally's the team it should be favored, but Granada beat them earlier in the year 6-5. The top 4 seeds are Granada Hills, Pally, Birmingham, and Carson.
I think the matchups are really fun. Granada's going to play Cleveland. Birmingham, I think, is playing Narbonne. Carson is playing ECR. and Garfield is playing Palisades.
You got it.
I think I got it.
Hey, Narbonne had a great win because they rallied to beat Roseville.
It's going to be some intriguing matchups on Friday afternoon. I will be at USC on Wednesday. I have a feeling we're going to see Granada, El Camino Real, Birmingham, Palisades. I think those are going to be the Final Four at USC on Wednesday.
And who am I to argue with Tarek Fatal, who covers these teams on a weekly basis? All right, let's move ahead to softball. Norco is back. I wrote down when they've won championships: 09, 2012, 2018, and 2019. They were runner-up in that span one time as well. Norco, the Cougars, are back, and they're going to play Pacifica, who's had tremendous wins in the tournament in the highest level, which is D1 in the southern section. They knocked off a great Los Alamitos team, and we mentioned it last week. They also knocked off Oaks Christian. This is a big-time matchup.
I think Pacifica. It's like the team of destiny. I know Norco's been there before, and you want to go with the veteran team and so on and so forth, but something about this Pacifica team and who they've knocked off and how they've done it has me believing that it's their year.
Well, Bryn Nally is a tremendous pitcher for Pacifica. Norco's got a great hitting team. Alyssa Hovermail, I wanted to make sure I got her name right, is the star hitter. She has 9 homers. But again, Norco can hit it, so I don't know if they can hold them down. That's going to be a test for Pacifica. All right, we move ahead and we talk about some city stuff again. Softball, we'll stay in that arena. Granada Hills over ECR in one semifinal, 5-2. No real surprise here. The pitcher, Addison Mormon, has been great as a sophomore for Granada all season long.
The Highlanders, I think that was their third, they had already, they played in the West Valley League, and they had beaten ECR twice earlier in the year, so they meet in the semifinals. They beat them for a third time pretty handily. I think Granada's a team to beat. I don't know if Carson has enough.
All right, well, we'll look at Carson. They had enough against Birmingham. I mean, they obliterated them 12-2. They have a very good pitcher in Giselle Pantoja, so you know that Pantoja will come back in the next matchup. So obviously Carson, which has a rich tradition, I kind of like Carson here.
Wow, okay.
I really do, just based on how tough they've been over the years. And when you see that score of 12-2, that to me is very eye-popping.
I think Birmingham was in uncharted territory. They'd never really been there before, and Carson took care of that. And I think actually Birmingham was up 2-0 in that game, and Carson scored 12 straight.
And you said you mentioned it earlier that you talked about Jim Rose. Again, Jim Rose, the coach of the softball team at Birmingham, was going for an open division championship in football and in softball, but now he's denied.
Yeah, he'll be, he came up a little short, but I always want to give credit to Jim Rose. He's the football coach, he's a softball coach, and he's going to coach girls flag football in the fall at Birmingham. His daughter, Jessica, will be the quarterback.
Yeah, I've heard great things about her. She's also on the softball team.
Shortstop.
Yeah, she's
really good
shortstop,
athlete.
yeah. How cool is that for him to balance 3 different sports like that?
I mean, I don't know how cool he is a
and
cool
coaching
guy.
his daughter, too.
Yeah, he is a cool guy. He would probably tell you it's really busy, but he's a gamer. That's the guy who he enjoys stuff like that. Jim Rose is one of the good ones. So I know he'll look at it as a challenge and he'll have fun. I think he said he's only going to do it for 1 year because he wants to coach his daughter, but he'll get the program lifted off the ground and keep it going.
The one thing there, when you look at these softball playoffs, no El Camino Real in the finals. They got knocked off for a down year. They still did pretty well to get all the way to the semis. And then San Pedro was knocked out because of that ineligible player nonsense earlier in the month. So to me, it's a little strange to see Carson, even though they've been a perennial power, but it's always been San Pedro and El Camino Real, really. They're the 2 top schools. We have a little bit different teams in there other than Carson. It's good to see Granada Hills really in the finals.
I agree. I do think it's good to see. I think the section is going to welcome a new champion, a new set of teams going for it. You don't want too much dominance. It kind of gets boring. You know what I mean. It's nice to have a little parity.
You know what's not boring? Track and field. You know, the Long Beach schools, Wilson and Poly, won the girls and boys southern section in both boys and girls in the track and field. But I want to talk about one guy.
Yeah.
Roderick Pleasant.
Never heard of him.
Yes, you have. This guy in the 100 and the 200 meters.
Unbelievable, man.
Maybe the best sprinter we've ever had in California, and one of the great sprinters in the history of the sport at this age. Sarah product. No, Sarah High.
Correct.
Always, I do
Sarah
that every
Gardena.
week. I mix up Sarah and Sarah. Sarah of Gardena. great star there. Phenomenal accomplishment. His time, I think I wrote it down at 10.09 in 100. That's ridiculous.
It was wind aided.
It was wind aided.
You got to, so it counts for that day because everyone's running in it. But for the record books, that will not stand. I think the wind was at 3.3 meters per second. It's got to be 2 or lower. But his wind legal low is 10.14. So it's not that far off. 10.14, 10.09, wind aided. It's possible on a wind legal day he can run sub 10.10 and do it again. Yeah,
and he'll be in the Masters meet this week and then the state finals next week, and he's just a joy for all of us, and we should just appreciate how good this Pleasant is.
Quick shout out, the young man that finished second in the 100 and the 200 at CIF finals, a freshman, Deshaun Rideau from Oaks Christian. So he could be the next man up. We'll see. I mean, to run behind Roderick Pleasant so close, and you're only a freshman, tells you how dynamic he is.
Yeah, again, I just wanted to talk about him because I think he deserves it. You know, you can't even show a highlight of his because it goes by so fast. I mean, we can't show a highlight. It's gone. All right, let's talk basketball. You know, Tarek and I love to talk basketball on this show, and there's been a rule change for high school basketball that'll start next year. There's all the language.
Verbiage.
Forget all the language. And I don't like rules. I'm not a rule guy, and I hate one-on-one when you have to make the first to get the second. Well, next year, in each quarter, if you get to 5 fouls, if you're a team, they go to a bonus where you get the automatic 2. I love that. They've done that in girls basketball, in college for a long time. That's the way it should be.
I think our guy, Eric Sonheimer at the LA Times, believes that there'll be more free throws. I don't know if that's true. He's like, oh, get ready. It's going to be a free throw marathon. Nah, not if it resets every quarter, so that's not right. So, yeah, if you start the quarter with 0 fouls, and if you commit 5 on that 5th one, it's an automatic 2 free throws. I do like the 1-and-1. I don't like that it goes straight to 2 free throws. It actually slows the game down more because you're not just shooting 1 potentially, you're shooting 2. However, I do like, then the second quarter will start, and it restarts to 0. It's basically like an NBA rule, that they reset it every quarter. I think it's actually going to help things along.
I like the rule. I don't like the one-on-one. So we're different there. The other thing I'd like to see changed is the timeouts like they do in the NBA and they do it in the women's game in college, where they can move it to midcourt. I do like that.
Advancing the
ball.
I thought you were saying what I don't like about the high school game is that you have to get to a number of fouls in order to force free throws. So let's say the 4th quarter comes and you've played a really clean game. In order to get the other team on the free throws to try and get back in the game, you need to get up to the 5 fouls now, or in the old rules, up to 7 or more. In the NBA, if you foul under a certain amount of time, you only need to do it twice and they get to the free throw line.
Under 2 minutes.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. So
I do like this. I think it's a good rule change.
I do too.
I think people will enjoy it. And it takes a little of the pressure off the kids too. So if they miss the first foul shot, they automatically have the second. We also need to talk a little bit about that guy, the other James, Bryce James. Where's he going? Campbell Hall, right?
Campbell Hall.
Online, there's a service, which this is kind of shocking to me, that is putting odds out on what college he'll go to. Now, the favorite, where's Bronny going? Bronny just committed to USC. Well, Bryce is favored by this online service, and you can gamble on this to go to USC. They're the favorite school. Some of the other top schools are in the mix, Oregon. But the one that's already offered him, Duquesne, is on the board as well. They're the only one that's offered right now, so they're 18-1. But USC is the strong favorite.
So Bryce James is still enrolled at Sierra Canyon. He's a sophomore, but he's already enrolled for the fall semester at Campbell Hall. They just hired a new coach, David Grace, who's a former college assistant. He's got 2 more years to play. We don't know what kind of player he's going to be, but I will say, physically, he's got more tools than Bronny. He's long, he's athletic, he's probably about 6'6" already. He can shoot it, he's got a good feel. I just think sometimes when we get these young kids that are so tall, so fast, it just takes them a little bit of time to get dynamic. So I think in another year, when he goes into his senior year and he's fully, a young man and into his body, I think he could actually be a really good player.
But the bigger question is, should they be gambling on high school kids and where they go to school? All right, here's another one for you. I know you wanted to talk about this. Castaic and Hesperia Christian, what a story the Coyotes are.
So Castaic is only in its 2nd year of varsity baseball. The school opened in 2019, and now they're in the Division VI final. I think it's a good story because no varsity sport on campus has ever made the postseason. So not only are they the first team to ever make the playoffs and win playoff games, they're going to be in their first CIF title. And listen to this, Randy. The Foothill League, Hart, West Ranch, Valencia, known for its baseball prowess, the whole league has only ever won one CIF title. So Castaic has a chance to be the second team.
Crespi.
Division II final. Hey, man, I don't know if you knew Scott Mucky much.
I did very well.
Egg.
I knew him all the way back to Pepperdine when he was their second
You know about
baseman.
Egg? Okay, that's what I always used to say. That was like his, hey, that was his slogan, his trademark sound was Egg. And everyone knows that Crespi is going to be in the Division II final against South Hills on Saturday at 1 o'clock at Long Beach. Everyone's rooting for the Celts.
Have fun in Long Beach.
I'll be there back-to-back days.
I'm sure you will. For Tarek, I'm Randy. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll have some probable coaches on next week of these championship teams. But for now, that's it for SoCal Prep Report. We'll see you next Thursday, live at 9 o'clock, right here on LA 36. Good night, everybody.
It's a little surprising you've never seen Sandlot.
I saw the movie. I just forgot
I
it.
didn't know who Squints was.
Yeah, but I like his glasses. He smiles.
Know who Squints was.
Okay.
You're watching LA 36, television dedicated to lifelong learning.